did last night was we looked at some simile poems for homework, right? And today we were going to come in and explain what we all think what similes are. So let's just go around real quick. What do we think a simile is based off of what we were reading last night?
Explaining something with as.
So, okay, explaining something with as. So, alright, good job. Nicole?
I think a simile is something that compares one thing to another.
Comparing two things, okay. Blue?
I think simile is something that's similar to something.
So maybe it's similar. So you're comparing two things and it's similar. You're using as. Joanna, what else?
A simile is describing and comparing someone to someone else. Similes use words, the words like or as to compare.
Very good. So that pretty much sums up all of our answers there, was you comparing two things using like or as. Very good. And did we all come up with something similar to that?
Yeah.
Awesome. So what I have here today is I have a simile written here on the board. It says soft as a kitten's ear. What's being compared here? Jason. We're comparing a kitten's ear to being soft, right? Exactly. I also have another one. I tried to pick this one out for all of you who like sports. So, batted the soccer ball like an irritating gnat. So, what do we think this could mean? David.
You're hitting the ball really hard, like you hit a net for it to get away from you.
And so in this case, gnats are kind of annoying, right?
Yeah.
When they're buzzing around your face. So if I'm swatting it away like an irritating gnat, maybe I could picture myself being the goalie, because you don't want the ball to go into the net, so you're swatting it away like an irritating gnat. Does everybody see how we're comparing that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so now we find simile is just one example of what we call figurative language. Figurative language is using descriptive words or methods to create an image for a reader or a specific audience or anybody. We can call it fancy language, in other words. So there's different kinds. We said before there's personification and there's, what else? Nicole? Repetitive. Joanna? Alliteration, exactly. And raise your hand? Nicole? Rhyming. And, well, we also have metaphors. And today, we're going to be focusing on similes. And, because if I were just to say, if we all look up here, if I were just to say an emerald, that's not really describing what kind of emerald, or I don't really get a clue of it. But if I use a simile, comparing it with something else, so if I said an emerald is as green as grass, well, we can picture grass, and then we can see, well, when green grass, it looks very healthy, it's very nice, and it's just very fresh grass, and okay, we can now picture this emerald, a jewel, to be this nice, rich color that looks like green grass, bright green grass. Does everybody see how this works? It enhances our picture to the main idea of the poem, or whatever text we are looking at, similes. So I'm going to read this poem, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to model how exactly we can break down this fancy language to help enhance what the actual text means. So an emerald is as green as grass, a ruby red as blood, a sapphire shines as blue as heaven, a flint lies in the mud, a diamond is a brilliant stone, to catch a world's desire, an opal holds a fiery spark, but a flint holds fire. So now I can kind of go back and say, well, we kind of already broke down the emerald and the green as grass. Okay, well, ruby red as blood. So there again we see as, so now, and we're comparing ruby red with blood. So blood is pretty solid, dark or bright red, and it's just very bold in the color red that it is. So I'm going to think that it's kind of like a thick, heavy red color, this ruby red. Okay, so, alright, a sapphire shines as blue as heaven. Well, let's see. Well, it's blue, okay, the sapphire is blue, we know that, and as heaven. So, heaven we can kind of picture as like a happy place in this case. And it's very nice and relaxing, probably calm. And so, if this blue that we're talking about is probably not going to be this really crazy blue, or maybe it is, depending on how you interpret it. But for me, I see it as this very calm blue and sapphire, so it's just a very peaceful color blue when I see this jewel, the sapphire. So I'm going to go with that. And then a flint lies in the mud. A diamond is a brilliant stone to catch a world's desire. An opal holds a fiery spark, but a flint holds fire. Okay. So did everybody see how I broke those similes down in this poem? Okay, so now we're going to get the chance to actually check out a YouTube clip of different songs and maybe some movies that actually have similes. Who here, since we've just gone over this, raise your hand if you've seen similes all around you, or where else have you seen similes? Okay, so raise your hand if you can tell me where you have seen a simile before. Steven? In a movie. Okay, good. David?
By a person saying.
Just in a normal conversation? Okay, yeah, good. Cora? I'm sorry? Say it one more time, sorry. Oh. Oh, posters, yeah. Awesome. Yes, Catherine? A song. Songs definitely have poems. Nicole? Yes, books. Books definitely have similes. Sammy?
TV shows.
TV shows. Yep.
Newspapers.
And newspaper. Yeah. So we kind of get the idea that similes are all around us. And it helps create pictures for us to understand exactly what is being talked about. It enhances it, makes it more interesting. We're able to create an image in our mind. And then we can infer exactly what is being talked about precisely, directly, rather than this broad definition of, I don't know, of a soccer, a guy hitting a soccer ball. I mean, how is he hitting a soccer ball? Is it, you know, in our hook that we did today, it was comparing the soccer ball to an irritating net. And that kind of really gives us the picture of this guy was saving the ball from going in the goal, right? There we go.
Today we are going to review similes and metaphors. We will listen to different songs and see how artists are using similes and metaphors to compare two different things. To begin, let's go over the definition of these two. A simile is a comparison using like or as. A metaphor compares two unlike things by saying that one thing is the other thing. So let's get started.
So that's where we'll stop that, because then that would be going into metaphors, which we'll talk about at a different time, but right now we're specifically focusing on similes. So were those some songs that, or movies that possibly we've seen before from Milan?
Yeah.
Who's seen Milan? And there was one in there. There was a simile in there. There was also what other similes did we catch from this clip? Sammy. Shine bright like a diamond. And so, okay, let's take that. Shine bright like a diamond. What does that, what can we infer about what she is talking about in that song? Lewis.
It really shines. It shines very bright, like a diamond.
And how does a diamond shine?
When it gets like light onto it.
So is it, we could also say it's blinding,
But
maybe? Or you would describe that, how is it shining? It's shining bright, but, so it's blinding, it's reflecting into my eyes.
feeling so fly like a G6.
And so, okay, what can we, let's take that, fly like a G6. They're comparing fly, which in this case means, like, pretty feeling good, pretty cool.
The G6 is a private jet.
And a jet is a G6, yeah. So, and jets fly, and so this guy's feeling pretty cool. He's feeling on top of the world. He's feeling awesome. So that's how you can kind of interpret these things. And that was in a song, they're in poems, they're in the different genres. And what else do we have, Sammy?
I'm gonna miss you like a baby misses his blanket.
Yes, exactly, that was a nice one. And what can you infer about that meaning?
Like, say, like, you lost a toy, and you're really gonna miss it a lot if it was, like, one of your favorites. You're gonna miss it like a child misses his blanket.
And yeah, I don't know if you've all been able to see a child without his blanket or her blanket, or if you can relate to that in your own story, where you didn't have something, like you said, a toy or something, and you missed it, you were sad. Exactly. And so in that same way, we can kind of infer about what these similes are saying, and that these similes also enhance, so we're able to understand or create a picture in our heads about to us, and then we'll be able to break this down, picking all the similes out, and you'll be able to write it down or in TNT about it. So, poor as a church mouse, strong as an ox, cute as a button, smart as a fox, thin as a toothpick, white as a ghost, fit as a fiddle, dumb as a post, bald as an eagle, neat as a pin, proud as a peacock, ugly as a monster. So go ahead and TNT about what the different similes are in here and what you can infer about them.
So it's pretty much the poem. Yeah, it's like Emily's. Yeah. And church mouse. Yeah. It's pretty much about like something describing someone and then it's a totally different thing. It's like a and I think like strong as a class, like really strong. So it's saying like that person is really strong. Cute as a button. Yeah, it's a really small button. Yeah, but it's fun. Like that person was very clever. Toothpicks are like skinny. Yeah, toothpicks are like really skinny, so it's probably really skinny, and it's fine to say that a toothpick is really skinny. And white as it goes is like maybe the person is like pale.
Have we at least got through some similes that we'd like to be able to share? Alright, let's come back together. Okay, so what were some of the similes that we found and what can we infer about them? David.
Well, the poet is probably describing a noun because it's probably a person, like people. It's probably a person, place, or a thing. Because, yeah, Because a person can be poor, strong, cute, smart, skinny, pale, active, not that smart, old, neat, and
He
proud.
could be any of these
So,
things.
do you think the author here, do you think he's describing a specific person? Or do you think he's just describing maybe the emotions or qualities or personalities of something or someone, maybe, rather than a specific person? Because it wouldn't really make sense to say someone's dumb and then they're also smart. So maybe, so maybe it's not talking about a person, maybe it's talking about something.
Maybe it's describing people.
Maybe, like
Each
the
one is a
personalities
different
or,
person.
right, or actions, or something, or animals, right?
Qualities?
Yeah. Emma.
So what I noticed is that the first word, like poor and cute, it's like a character. It's like describing something or someone, and then the last word, like church mouse or button, it's like the thing that it's comparing it to. So it's comparing the two things.
Right. And we would call those things tangible and intangible things. Tangible things would be the things you can actually physically touch. So the tangible thing that we are comparing to here in this simile is the church mouse. The intangible thing that we're comparing is poor. Exactly, very good. Nicole, what do we do?
I noticed that there were mostly emotions of something, and I think they were trying to describe a character or characters. So, and if they aren't like as what most people are, they're kind of different. But similes I might know as normal, like they're different from the ones I've seen.
They're different similes than you've seen before. So, okay, so that kind of lets you know they don't have to be about a specific subject. You can find them anywhere, right? Kind of lets you know that, right? Who got to the simile here I found very interesting, bald as an eagle. Who got to that one? Okay, let's look at it real quick. So bald as an eagle. Do you think that it's actually saying an eagle is bald? What do we know about eagles and the word bald? Steven?
Bald eagles?
Bald eagles, yeah, they kind of the United States state, like, yeah, it's kind of our bird mascot, you know? So, it's comparing the eagle to the bald eagle. Can we all kind of infer that? And how majestic is the bald eagle? And so when it's saying bald as an eagle, we're comparing it to this majestic bird. Does everybody see how that simile was used to enhance the language there? So, awesome. Okay, so right now, we're going to be able to actually break down two poems that I have in the back there. There's one about lightning, which is kind of exciting. I read it. And then there's another one just about similes. Now, this one's interesting because it uses a simile to explain similes. Exactly. So it's kind of funny and interesting. So right now, go back to your desk, and I'll let you go back in the back and grab one by tables. So what you're going to end up doing here after you read through the poem, you're going to analyze and interpret what the similes mean in the poem that you have. When you're inferring on what the similes mean in your poems, you're going to end up writing on the paper itself what the simile is, right next to it. Okay? So go ahead and go. I gotta sit. What does that mean? Vibrant color. Write down next to it what it means. a simile, or a smile, let's not get this confused, because simile and smile are very close, right? So a smile is like a rainbow after a downpour.
So a smile and rainbow.
Right. Well, the rainbow after a downpour is what it's comparing to. That's the tangible object, or the intangible object, the rainbow after a downpour. And a smile. So smiles usually means you're happy, right?
So it's
And so if
saying
it's a
like,
rainbow,
like a happy rainbows are like pretty and happy.
exactly. And then after a downpour,
It makes everything like happier.
exactly. So this is like a huge storm. It's just it's a big storm and it's not good. It's a bad thing. So you're comparing a smile to a whiff of rain after a summer monsoon. So that's the same thing. So my idea came to me like lightning hits the ground, like lightning in the sky, because lightning goes fast. Your idea comes fast, just like that. Exactly, so you're doing it great. Is where if you don't use your idea quick, someone else might use it, or you might forget it. Right? One of the two. Also, in desperate attempts to grab your hat on a windy day, it's so windy that if your hat comes off, it's so important to grab it. If you miss it, there goes your hat. It's quick. It's done. Exactly. So a cat pouncing on its prey, a cat catching its prey. And you know what that means? Is people hitting first now? Have you ever, did you watch the... Alright, boys and girls, go ahead and bring what you've been working on back to the carpet so we can talk about it. Let's just go around, raise your hand, and let's share some of the similes that we found. Sammy.
The first one, like when you get an idea, you usually use it until it disappears. The similar, what I got with this one is it is very, if you don't use your idea quick, someone else might use it.
And that's very good, yeah, because lightning is very fast, and your ideas can come fast, and if you don't act on them quick enough, maybe they'll disappear and somebody else will use them. Good. Nicole.
Like a tube of toothpaste face squeezed into the sink. So I thought it meant lightning is unsettling. Like no one really likes it.
Okay. Kind of like your interpretation. My interpretation of that, I thought that one was an interesting one. Have you ever squeezed out your toothpaste and you looked at it and there was like cracks and stuff in the toothpaste?
Yeah.
That's how I interpreted the toothpaste one going into the sink. And why they put the sink there, probably because you don't want to squeeze toothpaste just on the ground or something. Or, I mean, I don't know why they didn't do your toothbrush. But it's your own interpretation of that simile. That's the point. And it looks like lightning, the little cracks. Or, like you said, unsettling. Good. Daniela.
Like for the similes, for a rainbow after a downpour, I got like a rainbow after a downpour. It like makes everything brighter and happier because like a downpour, like all like rain and then all the color pops out.
And what was that simile?
Like a rainbow after a downpour.
But what's the full simile?
Like a smile is like a rainbow after a downpour.
Nice. And you said that's like... And you said that means what?
Like it makes everything like brighter and happier.
Exactly. Good job. Zach.
A clean sheet of paper writing to be written on is like a dog waiting to be picked up from the pound.
Okay. And then what did you say it means?
Like,
A count pouncing on spray. Wants to get it fast. Similarly is pouncing fast like a race car.
Nice. Did you make that one up? The race car one? Nice. I like how you're inferring and thinking about it more, going beyond what is actually written there. That's good. Sam.
Okay, so lightning is like a gunshot. Lightning is very loud and disturbing.
Exactly. How many of us could relate to that? Lightning being compared to a gunshot. Being loud and it's annoying and it just hurts your ears. So, we spent time here analyzing and interpreting what the similes meant in the poems. So, but these similes, they really allowed us to understand exactly what is going on with the poem, or the simile, or the phrase, or words. It gave us the ability to paint like a picture in our heads of what exactly does the rainbow look like in comparing it to the smile after a rainstorm. And we were able to actually relate to that, or if we're not able to physically relate to that, we can actually picture that in our heads of what it could mean. Or any of the other similes that we shared shared with each other. So the similes, they are part of figurative language, and there's more into figurative language that we will go over later, that help us get our ideas and help us to understand and paint a clear picture of what the author or something is trying to say to us in our heads.